A KCK man could soon have a second chance at freedom. Lamont McIntyre heads to court next week.
He swears he's innocent in a double murder, and even the victims' families agree. They are joining the defense and calling for his release. Here's investigative reporter Angie Ricono.
He had planned what he was going to do and executed it.
On April 15th, 1994, a killer armed with a shotgun snuck down this hill.
He ran down, but he had to cut across.
It was the middle of the day. The neighborhood was violent and drug infested.
It's suspected that the two victims were using drugs, specifically crack cocaine.
The killer simply walked up and unloaded.
He then shot the shotgun several times.
Eyewitnesses say the gunman calmly walked away. 2 men died at the scene.
It's hard finding witnesses who aren't still intimidated.
Within 6 hours, 17-year-old Lamont McIntyre was arrested. The jury convicted him of the double murder. That was 23 years ago. Lamont McIntyre has spent more than half of his life in prison.
I don't have faith in the process. I don't have faith in the process at all. I got faith in the truth.
Here's the truth according to McIntyre's defense team. There is no physical evidence that ties him to this murder. McIntyre has an alibi. He didn't even know the victims. So there is no motive. The only clear connection the defense team can find is the detective, Roger Golubski. More on him in a moment.
At certain moments of your life, darkest moments of your life, you know, God will send somebody your way to help you out.
McIntyre views his legal team as that divine intervention.
This was a slapdash investigation. In fact, I don't even think the word investigation applies.
An Innocence Project decided to give this case another look. A former detective reviewed the file. He produced a brutal 18-page affidavit. He writes, "So little investigation was done, and the investigation that was conducted was done poorly or not according to generally accepted police practices." One example is the police lineup. They are supposed to have 6 suspect photos, but Detective Roger Golubski used just 5. Why did he do that? And the defense team says Detective Golubski's investigation included just 19.5 minutes of taped interviews. The defense team investigators and lawyers spent 7 years on the streets and inside prisons.
I don't even know how many that I've talked to.
Former Detective Michael Bissell interviewed old witnesses and people who knew the victims.
I really believe that, based on the evidence, he didn't do it. I really believe that.
The legal brief filed in court is jaw-dropping. The defense team claims they have actually solved the murders. And this is the real killer, street name Monster. Affidavits show Neil Edgar knew the victims and allegedly confessed to people. Here's Monster today. He's in prison for a different murder. He never responded to our requests for comment.
You might think this is a case of sloppy police work, but the defense team says it's not that simple. Dig deeper and you'll find vendetta, corruption, and even sex abuse by law enforcement.
There is a great deal of evidence that raises questions about the integrity and the direction of the police investigation.
The defense team claims they were just trying to correctly solve a double murder and clear Lamont McIntyre when they uncovered terrible allegations of sex abuse. Accusers say one detective gave a choice, sex or jail.
These are from different people saying the same like stories about Roger Golubski.
Remember that detective we told you about at the beginning of our report? He's the accused ringleader. Former homicide detective Roger Golubski. There are affidavits from multiple alleged victims.
Golubski was so powerful that I didn't think some of us would have felt comfortable saying no or turning down his request for sexual favors. When Golubski or any other officers came to the bottoms, we knew we had a choice of providing sexual services or getting arrested. If you did not provide what he wanted, oral sex, then he took you to jail. That was simply understood.
Those allegations are backed by a former FBI agent and a retired KCK police officer who say Golubski's tactics were well known in the department and on the streets. But he was powerful and he was untouchable.
I gotta stop shaking for a minute. Just give me just a minute.
Perhaps the most gut-wrenching affidavit comes from Lamont McIntyre's own mother. That's right, his mother.
And I am tired of being terrified. I'm tired of living like, is this man gonna do something to me? He's got power. I don't got anything. I ain't got nothing.
Rosie McIntyre claims to be one of the victims of Golubski's alleged sexual abuse, and that had happened inside the police station years before that double murder.
I've been holding this in for a long time by myself.
She says to escape further sexual extortion, she changed her phone number and even moved. Rosie McIntyre now questions if that's why her own son became the suspect in Golubski's murder investigation.
If this is why my son got it, I don't know why they got it, but if this is why, that's evil. You don't hurt people like that.
Remember that lineup? The defense says it's not just sloppy. You're looking at evidence of a grudge. 3 of the people are related to Rosie McIntyre.
That was against everything that I've been trained as a detective about having family members involved in the photo lineup. I don't get that. I don't understand that.
There's her son Lamont, her other son James, and her nephew. Roger Golubski's initials are on the back of those Polaroids.
And I've always said I was innocent, but no one believed me. So.
Lamont is no longer a young, poor kid with a public defender. He's backed by 2 Innocence Projects, Centurion Ministries and the Midwest Innocence Project. The average cost per case, $350,000. Lamont's is already over $500,000, and it's not finished.
I feel like I'm a kidnapped person, and I've been forced to do something I don't want to do, and someone locked me in a place, and I don't have a key. So at that juncture, I have to be patient because I don't have the key to the lock.
Everything heads to court tomorrow morning, and Lamont McIntyre has the support of the victims' families. They say they truly believe he is innocent. They say the fact that there's even a hearing is ridiculous and long overdue. We will keep you posted. Reporting in Kansas City, Kansas, Angie Ricono, KCTV 5 News.
Our investigative team reached out to former Detective Roger Golubski. He declined to comment.
Golubski is expected to be at McIntyre's hearing and will be there too, providing updates on all of our news platforms.